The Homeless Girl and the Billionaire. Chapter 1. Midnight on Beale Street. Come on, baby, don't quit on me now. Marcus Moe. Carter smacked the steering wheel as his jet-black Escalade rolled to a silent stop right beside a shuttered blues bar. Neon guitar lights buzzed overhead, stuttering between pink and electric blue, throwing shaky colors across rain-slick pavement. Thunder grumbled somewhere above the Mississippi, and warm storm winds slammed raindrops against the windshield in hard, angry sheets. Moe killed the ignition, tried again, dead. His phone had 2%, no signal. Great. Billionaire in a ghost town, no crew, no driver, no help. He popped the hood and jumped out, $1,000 loafers splashing in ankle-deep runoff. Engine steam mixed with barbecue smoke drifting from a 24-hour rib joint 2 blocks over. In another life, he'd have laughed at the drama of it, but tonight the city felt like it was tightening a vise around his chest. Storm spray soaked his fade, and water streamed off his custom suit like ink. A quiet voice cut through the rain. "Need a hand, big man?" He spun. Across the street, a slim figure hefted a beat-up duffel packed with clinking cans. Streetlight revealed a young woman, mid-20s, honey-brown skin, tight coils, hidden under a frayed hoodie. She stepped off the curb, cheap sneakers splashing, eyes bright despite the downpour. "I'm good," Moe snapped, more rattled than rude. She kept coming. "Name's Bo," she said, nodding at the open hood. "That truck sounds like it lost ground. Mind if I look?" Moe hesitated. He owned half the Skyline, but couldn't tell a coolant hose from a carburetor. Pride had him frozen, anxiety twisted in his gut. The rain kept drumming. Finally, he stepped aside with a tight shrug. "Knock yourself out." Bo set her duffel down, slid thin fingers along the battery cables, her breath puffing white in the cool air. "You Memphis folks love chrome but forget the basics," she muttered, half teasing. She wiggled a corroded ground strap. Sparks flicked. "Got a 1/4-inch wrench?" Moe's laugh came out brittle. "I got a Rolex." Bo chuckled, dug in her bag, produced a rusty socket, and cranked the bolt tight. Raindrops beaded on her lashes. Moe watched, oddly mesmerized. Every move shouted quiet competence, the kind that couldn't be bought. "Try it now." She stepped back. Moe slid behind the wheel, twisted the key. The V8 roared alive, headlights slicing the rain. Relief flooded him like hot coffee on a cold dawn. He climbed out, engine purring smooth. "You some kind of roadside angel?" Bo kicked at a puddle. "Just know my wires. Learned from YouTube and busted engines folks threw away." She picked up her duffel. "All right then, night." "Hold up." Moe pulled a money clip, hundreds, crisp. He held out a thick stack. "Take this. Buy yourself a dry coat, something hot to eat." Bo's gaze found his, steady as a levee. "Ain't why I stopped." She pushed his hand back. "Your ride's running, that's enough." Lightning flashed. For a beat, everything froze neon white. Moe felt something slip inside him, some gear he didn't know existed. Nobody ever turned down his cash. Words tangled on his tongue. He reached in his wallet, produced a rain-spotted business card, gold logo gleaming. "At least take this. Carter Holdings HQ downtown. Swing by tomorrow, grab coffee, no strings." Bo studied the card like it might bite. "Coffee costs more than I got. My treat." He tried a grin, came off half hopeful, half desperate. "Name's Marcus, but friends call me Moe." She tucked the card into her hoodie pocket, nodded once. "All right, Moe. We'll see." Then she slung the duffel over her shoulder and headed into the curtain of rain, sneakers squeaking, aluminum clanking a ragged rhythm. Mo watched her fade past an empty trolley stop, heart thudding louder than the thunder. Engines he could replace, deals he could rebuild, yet that tiny moment of defiance, that soft steel in her voice, rattled him worse than any hostile takeover. He slid back into the SUV, heater blasting steam off his glasses, and caught his reflection. A man drowning in privilege, suddenly starving for something real. As he drove off, wipers slashing rain, his mind replayed Beau's refusal. Kindness ain't for sale. The phrase echoed like a blues riff, raw and simple, sticking under his ribs. Beale Street signs blurred by, neon turning to watercolor. Somewhere behind him, lonely saxophone notes drifted from a bar doorway, haunting and sweet like promises half kept. Mo felt the city shift around him, gears clicking toward a future he couldn't yet see. He never noticed when the storm stopped. He only noticed the emptiness in the passenger seat, and wondered why it felt louder than thunder. Chapter 2. Plastic Badge, Steel Resolve. Beau shot upright on a lumpy shelter cot before dawn, heart banging like a snare drum. The thunder had quit, but rainwater still pattered through a cracked skylight and dripped on her sneakers. In her fist she clutched Mo's business card, the gold letters smeared but still shining. One side of her brain whispered, "Girl, that man's world eats folks like you for breakfast." The other side hissed back, "You gonna recycle cans forever?" She rubbed sleep from her eyes, grabbed her duffel, and jogged outside into air that smelled of wet asphalt and pecan smoke from a breakfast truck firing up down the block. At the bus stop, a single token hid in her pocket, last remnant of yesterday's scrape. She flipped it, called heads and caught tails. "Aight," she muttered, "faith walk it is." She tucked the token back, tightened hoodie strings, and power walked the 8 Mississippi damp blocks to Carter Holdings Tower. Downtown Memphis stirred awake, neon bar signs yawning to sleep, church doors yawning to praise, delivery vans squealing across trolley tracks. Beau's stomach cramped when the glass monolith came into view, 40 stories of mirrored swagger stabbing a pink-gray sky. She felt like a sparrow landing on a bank vault. 2 security guards lounged beneath the awning, coffee steam curling from styrofoam cups. Both wore earpieces and bored expressions. Beau's sneakers squeaked on the marble entryway, announcing her before she spoke. "Morning, y'all. I'm here to see Mr. Carter." She held up the damp card like a fragile passport. The tall guard barked a laugh. "Sweetheart, exec interviews ain't today. Facilities is around back." Beau's cheeks burned, but she kept her chin level. "He told me to come, said, coffee, no strings." The short guard leaned forward, eyed her scuffed duffel, and smirked. "Folks say all kinds of mess when they stranded. Take the hint and bounce." She almost pivoted. Pride screamed run, but the echo of Mo's engine turning over, the way he'd looked at her like she wasn't invisible, pinned her feet. She inhaled, ready to make her case again, when the lobby doors whooshed open behind the guards. Mo strode out, talking into a Bluetooth headset, suit sharp as fresh money. He saw Beau and froze mid-sentence, color rushing to his cheeks. "Call you back, Ray." He killed the call and pointed at the guards. "Why, she's still outside." The tall guard straightened. "She got no appointment, sir." "She got my invitation. That's bigger than any appointment." Mo waved Beau forward. "Come on, you're with me." Beau slipped past the guards, heart thumping victory drums. The short guard mouthed, "Sorry," but she didn't waste a blink on him. Inside, the lobby smelled of citrus polish and ambition. CEOs in designer jackets glided across the floor. Stiletto heels clicked Morse code. A glass elevator shot upward like a silver bullet. Bo hugged her duffel close, trying not to drip shelter rain on the marble. Mo nudged her toward a tiny cafe nestled beside reception. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs, a hint of blues guitar floating from hidden speakers. A barista blinked hard when Mo ordered 2 grilled cheeses and whatever pastry looks most sinful. They slid into a booth. Steam rose from mugs, cinnamon dancing in the air. Bo traced the rim of her cup, unsure where to rest her eyes. Mo broke the silence. "Listen, I didn't bring you here to parade you around. Last night you saved my tail without asking for a dime. I want to return the favor, on your terms." Her guard twitched. "People always say that, then the strings show up later." Mo nodded like he felt the weight of that sentence. "Fair. So you spell the strings, I'll cut 'em." He pulled a folded paper from his blazer. An HR application stamped janitorial staff. "It's entry-level nights if you want your days free. Comes with dorm housing upstairs. Pays enough to ditch that shelter." Bo's eyes flicked to the form, then to his face. "You offering charity?" "I'm offering a door. You decide if you walk through." Silence stretched, thick as cane syrup. She pictured endless dumpsters, cold ribs, and the metal rattle of cans. She pictured that Escalade purring because her hands listened to its heartbeat. Slowly, she took the pen he slid across the table. "Door, huh? Cool, but I write my own map once I'm inside." Mo's grin flashed like sunrise off river water. "Deal." They finished breakfast, laughter loosening knots neither knew they carried. When Bo rose to tour the dorm, every click of her sneakers sounded different, like drum beats of a new song. Yet somewhere deep she felt gears shifting, destiny tightening bolts she couldn't see. And in the hushed corners of that mirrored tower, the spirits of old storytellers whispered, "A sparrow can perch atop a vault, but watch how she teaches eagles to fly." Chapter 3. Whispers in the Glass Tower. The gossip fired up the very first morning Bo's plastic ID card beeped green at 5:57 a.m. Janitors in gray jumpsuits leaned over mop buckets, swapping theories like hot gossip in a barber shop. How a homeless girl landed a dorm suite on the 12th floor. How the CEO himself escorted her in. Some said she saved his life during the storm. Others claimed she held secrets about him no one else dared speak. Bo heard every rumor drift through the freight elevator, but she kept her head low and let the mop glide across marble that smelled of lemon oil and big money. By noon, she had bathrooms shining, chrome fixtures winking under fluorescent lights, and a fresh stack of philosophy textbooks tucked into her duffel for afternoon study. In the hallway outside the executive wing, she felt the temperature drop. 3 assistants huddled around a water cooler, sing-songing her name like a curse. "That Bo chick really thinks hard work's a love potion," one said. "Wait till Mr. Carter's latest fling rolls out like the last one." The sentence stung like sleet on bare skin, but Bo's mama, one of her few memories, used to say, "A lioness doesn't pause for barking dogs." She breathed deep and passed them with a small nod. Up on floor 34, Marcus Carter watched from behind tinted glass, caught between pride and worry. He should have been finalizing a 9-figure deal with a tech conglomerate, but his pen hovered idle as Bo's silhouette swept the hall far below. With each stroke of her mop, he pictured the engine spark of that rainy night, her confidence, her refusal of cash, the way the storm's neon framed her face like stained glass. His pulse tripped. He slapped the contract folder shut and buzzed his assistant. Rochelle Banks glided in, perfume registering before her heels clicked. Her smile faltered when she noticed the way Marcus stared out the window. "Sir, shareholders need that MOU signed by 2. Marcus nodded without turning. "Push the meeting to 4. Rochelle's lips tightened. "Again?" She followed his gaze, saw the janitorial cart disappear around a corner and felt jealousy coil cold around her ribs. She smoothed it with a professional smile. "Anything else?" "Yeah," he said. "Tell HR to bump Bo Johnson's pay grade. She's saving us contractor fees handling minor repairs." Rochelle's ballpoint pen snapped in her grip. Ink dotted her palm like tiny bruises. "Of course, sir." She turned away, heartbeat spiking with equal parts rage and fear. If Bo kept rising, Rochelle's 10-year plan to move from assistant to Mrs. Carter would evaporate like morning dew. She needed allies. By late afternoon, rumors took on teeth. In the break room, 2 junior analysts live-streamed a whispered commentary to friends. "Carter got her sweeping floors 1 minute, sipping lattes with him the next," one said, phone camera hidden behind a soda can. "Watch. She'll be driving a Bentley by Christmas." Bo stepped in for coffee and felt their eyes brand her back. The analysts hushed, pretending interest in sports scores. She set her mug under the machine. The drip hissed loud enough to fill the silence. Courage forced her to speak. "Need the room?" she asked, voice steady as Riverstone. They stammered no. She left with head high, but inside a bruise formed. One everyone looked at, no one touched. Evening lights bathed Memphis in cotton candy pink. The river rolled like dark silk. Street saxophones floated up to the 12th floor dorm balcony where Bo reviewed math problems under a string of cheap fairy lights she'd rescued from the trash. Each problem mirrored her life. Unknowns stacked on unknowns, but order surfaced when you worked the steps. She whispered theorems while cicadas sang backup. Yet every few minutes she glanced at her phone, half hoping Marcus might text a simple "how's it going?" Nothing. Across town, Marcus sat at a private supper club, eyes glassy as investors toasted his expansion. Between silver-plated courses of jerk salmon and collard green risotto, the eldest partner leaned in. "Marcus, word is you're fraternizing with a janitor. Bad optics, bankers twitchy." Another nodded, cigar smoke wreathing his bald head. "We pulled you up. Don't let some stray pull you down." Marcus clenched his fork. Memories flashed. Bo laughing at the rusty socket, rain sparkling in her lashes. He pictured those same lashes blinking against boardroom glare, dreamed of a future where grit outranked pedigree. "Gentlemen," he said, voice smooth but packing flint. "A company that forgets the ground beneath it will crumble. Bo reminds me where the bedrock is." Only the jazz quartet heard the tremor in his tone. Back at the dorm, Bo finished page 50 and closed her book. She whispered a prayer to whoever polishes the stars, asking for courage tomorrow. As she clicked off the fairy lights, a lone owl hooted from the rooftop garden. Old folks say an owl means 2 paths crossing soon. She chose to believe that because faith costs less than fear. Down the corridor, a light flicked under Marcus's private office door. He had returned late, restless. 2 silhouettes approached from opposite ends of Fate's hallway, but neither noticed the other yet. Outside, Memphis heat pressed close, heavy with river mist and secrets ready to break like thunder over Beale. The storytellers in the wind leaned closer, eager to see which heart would risk the first move and what price the tower would demand for daring to love past its mirrored skin. Chapter 4. Runaway before sunrise. Midweek blues hit the tower like bad weather. A quarterly audit ran long, tempers ran longer, and rumors about Beau and Marcus rode every elevator cable. That night, Rochelle brewed a plan as dark as the chicory coffee she favored. She cornered the janitorial chief, flashed a tight smile, and slid him a memo stamped urgent. Before sunrise, Beau's assignment board glowed with red ink. Trash detail, executive wing, 6 a.m. sharp, right when the board of directors arrived for a surprise walkthrough. Beau saw the new schedule taped to her card at dawn. Something in her gut twisted, but she shrugged, tied back her coils, and pushed the cart toward the wing that smelled of cedar paneling and high stakes. Inside the gold-rimmed boardroom, she found overflowing bins, crumpled budgets, half-eaten pastries, lipstick-stained latte cups. Above them, a crystal chandelier sparkled like it enjoyed the mess. While Beau knelt bagging garbage, the boardroom doors swung open. Rochelle glided in with 6 directors behind her. Flashbulbs popped. A PR intern snapped photos for the annual report. Rochelle's voice dripped honey. "Gentlemen, meet the driving force that keeps us clean." Her gaze slid to Beau's stained gloves. "Some folk fit certain rooms better than others." Snickers fluttered across the polished table. One director whispered, "So that's the Cinderella Mr. Carter rescued?" Another answered, "Clock's gonna strike midnight soon enough." Beau's cheeks burned hotter than summer asphalt, but she tied the trash, whispered, "Excuse me," and rolled her cart out. Rochelle's laughter followed like sleet. Down in the basement locker room, the humiliation echoed louder than janitorial fans. Beau yanked off her gloves, hands shaking. Pride and pain fenced inside her chest. She opened her duffel, found the philosophy textbook she loved, and flipped to a penciled note she'd written weeks back. "A person owns their worth, no lease, no mortgage." Tears blurred the sentence. At 2 a.m., the dorm hallway slept under flickering emergency lights. Beau packed with surgical quiet. 2 t-shirts, battered sneakers, the owl feather keychain she'd found on the rooftop garden, and the rusty quarter-inch socket that had saved Mo's SUV. Last, she slid a folded letter under Marcus's office door. Ink smudged where tears fell. Marcus returned late from another investor dinner that tasted of fake smiles and overcooked steak. The corridor felt weirdly empty, like the building held its breath. A white envelope peeked from the carpet. He bent, read the first line. "Mo, you gave me a roof, but the storm followed me inside, then sprinted to the dorm level." Her room stood open, bed stripped, fairy lights dark. Something inside him caved, the sound of a bridge snapping under too much weight. He dialed her number, straight to voicemail. He tried again, heart hammering like Beale Street drums. Nothing. He cursed under his breath, grabbed his car keys, and barreled down to the garage. Outside, Memphis night pressed thick and damp, neon signs fuzzy in river mist. Marcus cruised alleys Beau once mentioned, eyes scanning every bus stop, every diner glowing lonely at 3 a.m. At a red light, he slammed the steering wheel, muttered, "Stupid, stupid," then forced calm. He remembered his grandmother's proverb. The hunter finds nothing while shouting. Silence shows the footprint. He rolled down windows, killed the music, let the city's heartbeat guide him. Distant train horns, cicadas rattling over vacant lots, the soft sob of the Mississippi sliding past warehouses. Still no sign of her. Dawn bled orange along the horizon, smearing clouds like fresh paint. He pulled onto a bluff overlooking the river, exhaustion coiling around his spine. In that hush before sunrise, Marcus pictured Beau's face the first time she tasted grilled cheese. The spark when she solved engine math no one taught her. He whispered to the river, "I won't let her slip." A lone heron lifted off the water, wings carving silver from the sky. The sight steadied him. Meanwhile, miles away, Beau trudged along an industrial road just as freight whistles split the air. A hand-painted sign read, "Hardy Construction hiring day labor." She squared her shoulders. Pride could starve a soul, but work would feed it. She stepped inside the gate, unaware a driver from Carter Holdings was fueling up down the block, eyes about to widen in shock. And so the drumbeat quickened. Two spirits pulled apart by spite, but tethered by something older than money. The storytellers in the wind leaned closer still, for dawn had only begun to test the faith of a lion and the resolve of a sparrow. Chapter 5. Dust and Second Chances. The concrete lot baked under a savage July sun when Cleo, a Carter Holdings shuttle driver, spotted Beau shouldering 50-pound bags of quikrete at Hardy Construction. Cleo's eyes bugged. "No way that's her," she whispered, but the girl's steady rhythm, lift, walk, breathe, left no doubt. 10 minutes later, Cleo skidded into the tower garage and grabbed Marcus before he even killed his ignition. "Sir, I swear on my mother's peach cobbler, your janitor's breaking her back at that East Side build site." Marcus's pulse spiked. He had spent 3 sleepless nights chasing shadows, blaming himself for every brick of shame Beau had hauled on her shoulders. Now destiny threw him a location. He yanked open the passenger door. "Drive." The pickup roared down Poplar Avenue, past clapboard churches and corner stores sweating orange soda in cracked coolers. Marcus's heartbeat matched the wiper blades sweeping red dust from the windshield. At the sight, nail guns popped like popcorn. Rebar clanged. Diesel fumes mingled with hot clay. He stepped out, suit shoes sinking in powder, eyes scanning rows of laborers. Then he froze. Beau balanced a cinder block on her head, posture straight as a choir solo. Sweat traced silver lines down her neck, but her gaze stayed forward, focused, hard, almost serene. Marcus felt a strange mix of pride and heartbreak. How many storms had she already outlasted without him? He forced his voice steady. "Beau!" The name cracked through jackhammer noise. Beau turned, nearly lost the block, caught it with both hands and stared like she'd seen a ghost wearing a Rolex. Workers paused, hammers dangled midair. Dust motes waltzed between them. Marcus took a step, throat thick. "Why'd you run?" She set the block down with a thud, wiping her forearm across her face. "Thought I was saving you trouble. Folks up in that glass castle been itching for dirt on you. I wasn't gonna be their headline." "Headline be damned." He closed the gap, ignoring the smear of mud on his slacks. "You think I care more about boardroom whispers than the woman who pulled me out a storm?" He swallowed, realizing the raw truth behind his words. "I care about you, Beau. Whole city can tweet otherwise." Beau's laugh came out brittle. "Care looks different where I'm from. Care don't come with penthouse pity." Marcus felt every onlooker leaning in. He lowered his voice. "I offered opportunity, not pity. Maybe I fumbled the delivery, but my heart—" He stopped, cheeks flushing. "My heart's been in your back pocket since that engine coughed back to life. Bo's eyes shimmered, equal parts hope and fear. Around them grit blew like desert snow. The foreman barked, "Johnson, break's over." But nobody moved. The whole site hung on her next breath. Bo glanced at the foreman, then at Marcus. "If I walk off this lot, can I keep my dignity?" Marcus gave a slow nod. "I won't carry you, Bo. I'll walk beside you." He extended a calloused hand. Weeks of guilt had driven him to manual charity builds. She stared at the hand, fingers nicked by volunteer labor, not office pens. Something shifted in her eyes. The steel softened. She slid her hand into his. Sparks, hotter than the noon sun, jumped between them. Gasps rippled across the crew. One man whistled low. The foreman scratched his beard like a man witnessing a parable unfold. Marcus guided Bo toward the truck, but she stopped, jogged back, grabbed the rusty socket from her pocket and waved it at the workers. "Y'all remember tools ain't nothin' without mind and heart behind 'em." She tucked it back like a talisman and climbed into the cab. They rode in charged silence, Memphis scenery streaking by. Marcus finally spoke. "First stop, Riverfront Boutique. You need gear that fits the powerhouse you are." Bo arched a brow. "I picked the threads, no neon designer billboard outfits." "Fair." He smiled, tension easing. "Second stop, a little complex my sister manages. Sunny windows, no skyscraper shadows." Bo's shoulders unwound a notch. "And third?" "Third, we map a future you design. Night classes in automotive tech, seed money for any business plan that sets your soul on fire." The truck fell quiet except for the engine hum. Bo traced a finger along the dashboard grit. "You really expect nothing in return?" He shot her a sideways glance that held all the storms he'd weathered alone. "I expect you to keep being Bo, Lionheart in thrift store sneakers. World needs that story." Outside the boutique, sunlight spilled through stained glass transoms, painting the sidewalk in ruby and sapphire. Bo stepped out, saw her reflection, dust-streaked cheeks, eyes burning bright, and finally let out the breath she'd been holding since trash detail humiliation. Marcus offered his arm. She hesitated, then rested fingertips on his sleeve, light as a bird testing new wind. Inside, mannequins wore possibilities, denim sturdy enough for grease, blazers sharp enough for boardrooms. While Bo chose, Marcus waited, hands clasped, feeling like a man allowed to witness sunrise after a long, bruising night. In that hush of fabric swish and soft music, he realized every empire he'd built felt hollow compared to this simple moment of choice reclaimed. An hour later, Bo emerged in dark jeans, a crisp white tee, and steel-toed boots that meant business. She spun once, half shy, half proud. Marcus's smile crinkled his eyes. "Perfect." As they left, the boutique door chimed. A small sound, but the storytellers riding the river breeze caught it like a bell of destiny. Somewhere, an unseen drummer rolled a beat, letting the city know. The lion and the sparrow had stepped onto the same path again, and Memphis better brace for the thunder of their next move. Chapter 6. The Porchlight Promise. Thunder cracked over South Memphis an hour before the ribbon cutting, and the sky threatened to drown every dream Bo and Marcus had hammered together. Reporters huddled under pop-up tents, cameras sheathed in plastic, while neighborhood kids chased wind-blown flyers that read Bo and Mo Auto Ed Center, free tune-ups, free hope. Inside the cinderblock shop, Marcus faced Bo across a metal workbench littered with socket wrenches and sweaty nerves. "Storm's messing with the turnout," he said, tugging his tie loose. Bo wiped oil from her palms and shot him a grin that still hit like sunlight. Memphis folks ain't made of sugar, they'll show. Yet her stomach churned. Today marked 1 year since she'd walked out of the tower carrying shame in a duffel. Now a whole zip code waited to see if her comeback was real or just billionaire glitter. A sudden flash, camera not lightning, popped through the open bay. Rochelle stepped in, umbrella dripping, flanked by 2 investors Marcus had iced weeks earlier. Her smile sliced the humid air. "Thought I'd congratulate the happy couple," she purred, voice loud enough for microphones, "and remind the press how our CEO abandoned core assets to bankroll janitorial fairy tales." Marcus's jaw tensed, but Bo caught his sleeve. "Let me." She strode forward, boots clicking on wet concrete. "Ms. Banks, you and your boys need an oil change? 'Cause we teach that free." Laughter rolled from onlookers. Rochelle flushed crimson. One investor snorted, "This stunt'll tank Carter Holdings stock by morning." Bo leaned in, eyes fierce. "A company without heart is already bankrupt." She turned, raised the rusty 1/4-inch socket high. "This little tool started it all. It taught me a broken thing can spark a revolution if somebody believes." Applause erupted. Rochelle retreated, reins swallowing her stilettos. Lightning faded. Clouds split like stage curtains. Sun poured onto the lot, gilding the fresh mural on the garage wall. 2 hands, one rough, one manicured, cranking the same wrench. Marcus slipped a ribbon around Bo's neck, the socket hanging like a medal. "Ready?" he whispered. She nodded, voice shaky. "Cut it before I pass out." They sliced the ribbon together. Music kicked up. Local brass band, big and joyful. Kids swarmed the tool stations, volunteers popped hoods, aunties lined up for the barbecue pit, firing on the curb. Bo rotated from bay to bay, teaching a high schooler how to find TDC, calming a single mom nervous about her rattling minivan. She worked like the storm never happened, like every scar on her past was now blueprint ink for somebody else's future. Near sunset, the crowd drifted home, bellies and hearts full. Fireflies blinked around porch lights strung along the shop's wooden deck, built from reclaimed pallets Bo had rescued. Marcus found her there, elbows on the rail, watching the sky drip peach and lavender over the river. He cleared his throat. "You forced me to see past marble floors. World feels bigger and smaller all at once." Bo smiled, but tears rimmed her eyes. "You handed me keys to doors I didn't know existed, but I walked through them. That matters." He pulled a small velvet pouch from his pocket, fingers trembling. "I built skyscrapers trying to scrape heaven, but tonight heaven's right here on this porch. Bo Johnson, will you build the rest with me?" She opened the pouch, inside a simple titanium ring etched with the same 2 hands from the mural. Her breath caught. "You sure? I still got grease under my nails." "That's the part that shines." He slid the ring on her finger. Porch light flickered on above them, casting a warm halo. Bo laughed through tears. Somewhere beyond the train tracks, church bells chimed 8. Their echo mixing with cicada song. Memphis night settled rich and forgiving, as if the city itself whispered amen. Moral, a king who forgets the ground soon rules dust. A sparrow who trusts her wings can teach the sky new stories. In the meeting of dust and wings, whole neighborhoods learn to fly.